I think it's soberized my view that people are sinful, and that this is just one more sin. In a way, it surprised me that it happened here, but the reality is people here are no different to people anywhere else. They just happen to be wealthier or maybe professional, but they're human. And so sadly, this proves that this is the human condition.
This is a second solidarity gathering that the World of Wellesley has put forth for our community as a result of an incident that happened this summer with some Wellesley High School students who unfortunately chose to engage in a private Facebook post with some very, very hurtful and hateful language and behavior and thoughts. It has hurt me personally, and I know it has hurt many people in the community and people that are watching how we respond. And this, obviously, today, coming together in this space is so important as part of that journey that we engage our humanity with each other and we begin to have the tough conversations, meaningful conversations, important conversations that we need to have to make Wellesley a more welcoming place, as the mission is for World of Wellesley, but as I believe that you believe that this is Wellesley, and this is what we want. So thank you so much for attending today. We are going to begin the Sharing in Community part of the program. We are offering some very courageous people to speak today. We are very thankful for that, and we want to offer them a few minutes to share their truth so we can listen and we can reflect. We've asked in the program, once our speakers have completed their feelings and thoughts, that we in unison respond, we see you, we hear you, we are grateful for you. So I am very, very grateful for the friendship and the opportunity to have Tendai and Bobo Muzikavanu speak today. Tendai and his family moved to Wellesley about 7 years ago. Bobo was one of the students that was targeted in the Facebook post this summer. You will hear today their truth. Thank you for listening, and Tendai and Bobo.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Some of you have come from afar. I know some have come from as far as Connecticut, Rhode Island, people from all walks of life. We thank the number of you that have wept with us. We've had black and white and all shades weeping with us and reflecting with us over this issue. Thank you for being here to seek how we can live in peace and harmony in Wellesley. We love this town. It has been our home for 7 years. For those of you who question how fundamentally important it is to deal with the issue of racial prejudice and division, it is at least as fundamental to the United States of America as the Great Seal of the United States of America. I'm going to ask each one of you to, those of you who have, to go into your pockets. I'm not going to take your dollar. I'm just asking you to pull out a dollar and look at it. A $1 note. If you look at the back, obviously opposite to the side where the president is, you'll see the Great Seal, the one with the balded eagle. And just above it, you see the Latin motto. And I'm going to read from my note. A pluribus unum. A pluribus unum is Latin for from many, one. That is the motto of the Great Seal of this great country that appears on official documents, buildings, and institutions reflecting the substance of this country. This motto is so precious that it appears on the American store of value, the dollar. It is so powerful that it appears on the seal of the President of the United States. The Congress of the United States has the same motto depicting its key role in expressing the representative voice of the people. And the Supreme Court has the same motto confirming the motto's key role in justice. So the Great Seal's motto is strongly connected to value, power, representative voice, justice. These four things were the things 3 Wellesley teenage peers of my son, conspiring with 4 others from surrounding towns, sought to deny my son and the rest of our family in their social media interaction in mid-July. Many of you have heard the racial slurs, degrading invective, and insults our family faced when these 7 young boys spewed rants of prejudice, calling me and my family the N-word, questioning whether we were even human, wanting us to go back to Africa, and stating that our family were taking American jobs and that we would be lynched or genocided.
Disbelief, I think, was the very first thing. We live in this idyllic, we thought it was an idyllic town, and you sort of fool yourself that you're immune to racism. And yet this is proof that there's no corner on the globe that is totally free of prejudice and racism. So that was the first thing. And then secondly was anger and sorrow. Anger because it's different when it's your family, when it's your children and your family who are targeted. If it's you, you can face it and sort of grit your teeth like a man and fight it, but it has a different impact if it's your family.
Besides a coarse tone and grammatical errors that revealed certain levels of ignorance, the worst ignorance that these boys displayed was that this is not what America stands for. This is not what Wellesley stands for. Before we dismiss this as merely a few kids on Facebook horsing around, let's see this for what it really is. A couple of young boys doing their part to unravel the very fiber of which this country and indeed civilization is built. As sadly is becoming more and more typical of today's desperate, violent world, it took the few young saboteurs bent on proving themselves to be real men by outdoing each other in expressing extremist views to damage and outrage the many. Just because this incident led merely to violent words and not violent acts of hatred does not mean it does not deserve our vigilant attention. As we know, in this world, violent, extremist words, unchecked and unaccounted for, often fester into violent extremist actions. Hatred, division, and lies never built any noble country. Only love, unity, and truth stand the test of time. We are a community
a collection of families. A family that does not have awkward, sometimes difficult conversations when hurtful things are said or done is a family that will not develop deep, meaningful relationships or unity. This is why we unite here today, to get rid of the hatred, division, and lies. Which lies? The lie, whether spoken or secretly believed by certain whites, that they are indeed superior to black people or other minorities. The lie, whether acted upon or secretly believed by certain blacks and other minorities, that they are indeed inferior to white people. The lie that when black people are attacked, brutalized, or hated, that they must have been the trouble causers or had it coming to them. My son, Bobo, Mr. Cool, Mr. Popular, was the president of his freshman class at Wellesley High School. Try going to a Wellesley Starbucks with Bobo. I employ Americans. My wife and children are responsible residents of this great town. How did we have this attack coming to us? No one deserves injustice or racism. And yet, this event, occurring in one of the country's most affluent, sophisticated towns, is proof that no one is immune to racism, whether as a victim or a perpetrator. Racial victims must never believe the lie that if they work hard, maybe they'll earn acceptance. That maybe, with white permission, they may earn the right to be themselves and have the value that was really theirs all along. It is a lie that my value comes from the generosity of my supposed superiors. My value was endowed to me by my Creator and not by the whims of man, whether black or white. President Kennedy said, "The rights of man come from the hand of God and not from the generosity of the state." So why do these lies persist? Why do we have to keep on and on and on talking about racism over and over and over again? Because we need to. Like those unwanted calories of American life, the lies of racism must be dealt with on a continual daily diet and exercise regime of truth, courage, and love. Like those undesirable pounds of excess body weight, sin, prejudice, and racism come back again and again and again and affect the very health and longevity of this and indeed any other nation. That is why we desperately need to be saved from ourselves. Left to our own devices, the human race can be selfish and self-destructive, faced with only one hope of redemption: love. Not the soppy, sentimental type of love, but by the type of love that Christ himself showed us. A love that is self-sacrificial, which often endures humiliation, and yet is powerfully redemptive. Let's hear about what my son has to say in his own words. We're tag teaming this.
Thank you, thank you. It's truly an honor to be able to address my town because it means that I have a chance to shed some light in this very dark situation. And it means that I can aid this town through this period of reflection. When someone's family is put to question and they are attacked racially or in any form, it is very difficult to be able to gather your thoughts and emotions. But thankfully, time and God has allowed me to stand before you today. I've previously shared my thoughts and opinions on Facebook, and many of you know that on Facebook I stated that racism is no new battle. It has been fought by those much older and wiser than I. This makes it very hard to not feel unqualified. But even in my unqualification, I know that in every battle that we fought against racism, it is love and forgiveness that has won the battle, that has conquered the battle. I know that it is love and forgiveness that Martin Luther King used, and that it is love and forgiveness that even Jesus used. And I know that it is love and forgiveness that we as a town have to use. So, the one thing is that our love and forgiveness must be steadfast. Because in this particular situation, we know that a thief only feels true guilt when caught. And this thief doesn't consist of several random kids. This thief is a giant that we've been fighting for a long time. And it must be brought down through justice. Justice does not mean doing nothing. Justice means my trust in this town. I trust this town to do the right thing. I trust this town to do what it believes, and I trust this town to believe in equality. Thank you.
Not bad for a 15-year-old. Bobo for president. It is this healing love that my family and I commit to showing the boys who hurt us, when we had actually shown nothing but kindness to them, of them that knew us. We commit to honoring their families, even though their sons were committed to humiliating ours. We commit to treating them as people, even though one of them questioned our own humanity. We commit to forgiving them, regardless of whether they would have forgiven us were the roles exchanged. Why would we do this? Is it because we are nobler than they? No. That would be merely another lie. Our family is as prone to flaws and errors as the next. We do this because we do not believe in lies. We do this because we believe the truth is the only foundation of true freedom. We do this because all men and women were created equal before God. Because even though the united defeat the divided, the truth is, even if we're all white, brown, yellow, or black, we would find reasons to hide our insecurities by making others feel inferior to us. The US's Great Seal motto is not a pluribus plures, which translated means out of many, many. No. America, you chose a pluribus unum. Unum means one, a common people. We are one and the same. I am one of you. Whether you accept it or not, that doesn't change the truth. The truth of the equation 1 + 1 will always remain steadfastly true, regardless of how many people vote against it or whether or not it is socially acceptable. So remains the equation that love conquers hate, light illuminates darkness, truth overwhelms lies, and though we come from many backgrounds, our strength and hope for purpose and fulfillment comes from being one. So now what? What's the practical action item list from all of this? Reach out to your neighbors. Have awkward discussions with your children, parents, and people from different backgrounds, and listen. Address this, not once, but continually. Only loving truth and total acceptance can eradicate hate, division, lies, and prejudices. Our earthly lives have a common beginning or a source, and we face a common ending. Let's realize that we have common lives, common in value, common in their needs for a common voice, despite our many destinies and views, common in our hunger for justice, and finally, common in our quest for love and acceptance. Thank you.
I was very touched by a standing ovation that we received from the town for our speech. Standing ovation is just one step. Now we need to do something. My view is it's going to make me more action-oriented to confronting this issue. I will not allow it to make me bitter or unforgiving. Hatred and lies have never resolved anything. Revenge is a very short-term approach. This needs to be something where we work together and eradicate this through discussion, forgiveness, repentance, grace, love.
I think that it's really great that we do something like this as a town to come together. I think it just shows that people care, and it helps you deal with the problems more. Yeah, I think that's great.